everybody? Welcome back to the Between the Lines podcast with Aiden and Chris. We are back for New Year's Eve. It is December 31st, 2024. Last day of 2024. And we got some big news. Chris DeMarsico, congratulations. You have won our fantasy football redraft league.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a title defense, back-to-back champion. I'm
Yeah.
happy to say it. I think this team was definitely better than last year's team. I was looking at them this morning. Last year's team was 8-6, and I just got hot at the right time.
Wow.
And Brees
Yeah.
Hall kind of carried me through the playoffs, but this team was pretty dominant all year. I drafted extremely well.
Yeah.
Um,
I was going to say, you had a
Obviously,
full, loaded lineup. Go ahead, read it off.
yeah, obviously my pick of the year in terms of value is Brian Thomas. I got him in the 11th round, and he ended up being a monster in the playoffs. Chase Brown was another great pick late.
Yeah.
Um, I picked up Bucky Irving off waivers early in the year.
Huge.
Herbert was available as a free agent one week when I was in a pinch, and I never took him out of my lineup.
Yeah.
And then obviously the big trade
Wow, you
for
had.
Devontae Adams, swapping
Yeah.
Collard for Adams. That was a huge difference because Devontae, obviously in the championship, he didn't perform, but I had already pretty much won my game.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had a 40-point game the first round, even though I was on a bye. And then the week after, I think he had another 20-point game. So he was good.
Yeah.
Brees Hall and Cooper Cup, a little bit disappointing. Brees
I think
Hall
they
was my
helped in the
first pick,
beginning of the year.
obviously.
They helped early
Yeah,
on
but
for you.
the Jets' offense is just so dysfunctional, and Cooper Cup and
Yeah.
is in a Rams offense with a lot of mouths to feed. But Kyron Williams was a really good pick. I thought a lot of people probably thought he was going to regress after last year, but he had another good year. Mike Evans, Mr. Fantasy, Mr. Consistency, a great pick. He got hurt and
Yeah.
then he came back and was still very good. Jonnu
Clutched up
Smith
for
picked
you,
him up in
yeah.
free agency. This was my best year, I think, on the waiver wire. I've had some really good moves
Yeah.
in the past.
I was just
Obviously,
in the
last year
Bucky
I picked up
Irving.
Stroud.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
was just the
last year I picked
Bucky
up
Irving move
Stroud, and
was
that was a
great.
big move. But Bucky Irving
Yeah.
was great, and I started him in the championship over Brees, and that was the right move.
Smart move, yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
Bucky
it
put up
just shows.
1,000 yards, dude,
And he didn't even
this
get
year.
like over 50% of the snaps this year from their total offense. I think I have him in Dynasty too. He was my last pick in the fourth round. I
Right.
just took a
Right.
flyer on a backup running back. I
Yeah.
just think it just shows how valuable um, in redraft playing the waiver wire is if you can, and just
Yeah.
trying to pick up guys like a week before they go off. Obviously, that's hard to
Yeah.
predict, but if you can get a head start, like I remember last year, I picked up Stroud really early in the season,
Uh-huh.
and I just sat him on the bench, and he took off. I remember I was texting you like every week, like, "Oh my God, CJ Stroud," because he had a crazy year. This year's been a little bit of a down year. We've talked about that,
Right.
but yeah, I just think
Right.
it's important to play the waiver wire, and then obviously in Dynasty, like you take a deeper look at the team that they're on, the coach that they
Yeah.
have, and how they're going to be used within the offense.
For
But yeah, it's
sure.
an exciting year, and I'm excited for next year already. Should be
You
a
know what was
fun off
annoying?
season
You know what was
of trades,
annoying?
though.
I
What's
in our
that?
di in our dynasty league, we do in our dynasty league. Chris knows obviously, but for people that don't know about dynasty, it's like keeper league. So, and our rules are you keep however many players you want any time of the year. But our draft every year is the rookie draft class. We do it like in the summertime when they already get picked to a team and all that stuff, and we don't know exactly if they're gonna be starters and all that stuff, whatever. But I was looking at Bucky Irving like deep into because I had a fourth round pick that I really wanted to use a running back on because I have Rashad White on my fantasy lineup. I knew he on my dynasty team. I know he's like 26 now. He's getting a little older for like a newer running back that was in the league. So I saw the Buccaneers draft Bucky. I was like, I really want him. Chris, you took him with the last pick of the third round. I took my next pick was the sixth pick in the fourth round, and I was slamming my phone down because I don't think I was with you. I was in Florida at the time
Yeah, you are
when we were
away.
doing this draft, and I remember I was at work and I'm just in the break room fuming my butt off because I wanted him so bad. And that was a great pick by you. I think it was one of the steals of the rookie draft we had last year. I ended up taking Kamani Vidal, which is like the third string running back for the Chargers. I mean, nothing happened with him. So, but yeah, fair play to you because getting him in both your leagues. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, it's interesting because, like, I think it just goes to show you how like no one really knows anything. Because I remember I've been doing mocks on the sleeper app since like January, and I didn't even
Right.
have Bucky Irving as a thought in my mind. I was like,
Sure.
these running backs are just not it this year. I think I'm gonna load up on
Oh,
receivers and whoever I can get. I wanted Braylon Allen obviously because I'm a homer, and actually do think he could be a solid player in like
yeah,
2 or 3 years if he because
for
maybe
sure.
Brees doesn't get an extension with the Jets, but Braylon Allen's only 20 years old, so
Yeah,
I'm willing.
that's a smart pick.
But I wanted Jordan Travis again because I'm a homer and I wanted to put him
Mm,
in
yeah,
my squad. Ryan took him like a couple picks before me. I was like, all right, let me just take this Bucky Irving guy. Like I don't know much about
yeah,
him. The
yeah,
Buccaneers have a really good offense, and if he's good, like they'll find a spot for him. But
yeah.
I think my best move in that draft was trading up a couple spots to get Lad McConkey because he has been a stud.
I was gonna say
I
that
didn't.
too. I was going to that. You and me had really good rookie drafts this year, I
I had
think.
a good draft. I had Worthy too as my first pick, like right after you
Yeah,
picked
it's not bad.
Bowers. So I think that was 8 or 9, and he's been solid. Like he'll
Yeah,
be a solid flex play. I don't think he'll ever get to like a consistent wide receiver two start. I think that's where Lad is
yeah,
heading. But like
yeah.
if you can fill out your roster with double digit scorers, like it gives you a lot of options.
It gives you a lot of depth. Well, I was gonna say with Worthy, we talked about a little bit about him last week with Rasheed Rice going out, and then Hollywood Brown for the Chiefs being on the IR most of the year. The Chiefs never had that designated guy. They traded for Hopkins a little later, but obviously he's much older. So they kind of like forced Worthy into this like Rasheed Rice possession receiver kind of thing, like first target for Mahomes. And I'm not saying that Worthy isn't capable of it, but that's not his comfortable spot, if that makes sense, is what I'm saying. Worthy's that, bring him across like on a jet sweep or something like that and just dump the ball off and let him go kind of guy, or occasional deep route, deep shot for Mahomes, which is what they needed now because obviously they lost Tyreek Hill a lot of years ago, and um, he kind of never had that explosive play. That's what Worthy is, and I think now they fit him more into like he's going against corner twos, corner threes, and this is where he'll beat guys with his speed because the corner ones are way too experienced, and Rasheed Rice is the kind of guy you have to handle for that. But if you put Worthy in this kind of slot, like wide back receiver, running back kind of position where he's playing everywhere, he becomes dangerous, bro. He's always a threat for a big play now. So I think with the addition of Hollywood Brown back, Worthy's in a more comfortable spot where the Chiefs know how we could just easily dump this off for Worthy and take it, and he could take up the sideline for 10 yards. So I think you had a really good overall draft.
Yeah, I don't think his route tree is anywhere near what they think it
She
can be.
writes,
That's why he
yeah,
was struggling. So I think that just makes the Chiefs that much more dangerous now that you have a veteran like Hollywood available,
yeah,
as well as Hopkins, and you can spread the ball. And Worthy doesn't have to play like a specific, an X, a Y, or a
right,
Z. Like you can kind of just move him around creatively, and like he's just a guy
yeah,
you just want to put the ball in his hands. That's it.
exactly. I
It
agree.
doesn't have to be anything crazy. And we're gonna see how the Chiefs use him. It's gonna be interesting because the Chiefs are resting their starters this week, so they're gonna have like 3
Interesting.
weeks. They're gonna have like
That's
3 weeks
confirmed.
off. Yeah, yeah,
That's
Mahomes is
confirmed.
not playing this
Wow.
week, and I don't especially because he has the leg injury, and I don't think a lot of the other
Yeah.
guys are. So,
Yeah,
I'll be interested to see
I
who they
I want
match
to talk
up
about
with
that game. I can't wait.
in the
Yeah.
divisional round, and then
Yeah.
if they're affected at all. Because the Chiefs are a slow starting team, even on their best day. I mean, we see them in the Super Bowl, they're down 10 points at halftime.
Yeah.
So,
A
how are they
crucial.
gonna fare after, like, 20 days off?
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good point. Um, all right. Talking about games, we'll recap last week's picks. I mean, Chris will go over that in a second, and then we'll do our Week 18 picks. This will be a little bit of a shorter episode. We'll do another episode on Friday. We'll talk about some of the bowl games and a couple of games on Saturday as well. But go ahead, Chris. We'll recap Week 17.
Yeah, so this was a long week, it felt like, because we had the Christmas
Yeah.
games and then Thursday night, so finally nice to be able to wrap this one up, put a bow on it. We both went 12-3, so where we split was you had the Texans and I had Baltimore on Christmas, and
Mm,
then on
yeah.
Saturday night, one of the best games of the year, Broncos-Bengals. I mean, no one wanted to win
Yes.
that game, and no one wanted to lose that game at the same time.
Yeah. Yep.
I had the Broncos, you had the Bengals. So Bengals picked up a
Yeah.
win, stayed in the playoff race for
It was a
another week.
wild game. Wild game.
Yeah. Yep, and then we both whiffed on the Colts. I'm sorry, it's a sore subject for you. The Giants.
Yep.
Drew Lock had his one game of the year where he looks like a great quarterback. We knew it was coming.
Yep.
I don't think either of us felt comfortable picking it, but we knew it was going to happen, right? Like we've been talking about it for a month. It feels like.
Uh, quickly on the subject, hold on. It's I'm not mad at you putting up 45 points. And it's like, great. Everybody got to eat. And, it's a big controversy in the league about tanking and all that stuff. Nobody's going to tank. Let's be honest here. It's
Yeah,
just, it's just what makes me mad is you show up now, and I'm not saying like the Colts defense was awful. They didn't show up at all. And maybe that's what it was. The Giants just were more present that day. Cause I don't, you know what I mean? I just think the Colts didn't show up at all. Um, Malik Slayton and Wandale scored. Malik had probably his best game of the year. Fair play to him.
yep.
Poor tackling by the Colts all around, though. Tyrone Tracy had a great year, great game as well. It's just the whole draft thing is a big talk we could have probably on Friday, Chris. But let's go through the rest of the games first. I just wanted to point that out real quick.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to talk a little bit about that in the draft and the
Yeah.
implications. And we'll obviously have a bigger picture, obviously, next week because the order will be set for the teams
Yep.
that didn't qualify for the playoffs. So,
Hmm.
another messy game. I had the Dolphins, you had the Browns. The Browns
Yeah.
just they're just not scoring
Nothing.
with
Yeah.
DTR. DTR has been really bad. And then
Give me Winston, bro. Put him in.
I know
Should
at
put him
this
in.
point, I know at this point. And then lastly, I had the Packers who almost had a crazy comeback, and you had the Vikings.
Yep.
Vikings
I
are
saw that. That
14
was
and 2.
also, yeah, 14-2.
So
That's
14 and 2.
wild.
So are the Lions. We have a week 18
Yep.
game on
That's
Sunday Night
awesome.
Football for the number one seed in the NFC North division crown. So imagine winning
Well, now
14 games and having to go on the road. I mean, that's
that's what
insane.
I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. I think this is one of the highest best records that'll end up in the
I
wild
think
card
it's
ever.
yeah, I think it is the highest
I
seed
think
that's
it's the
never
best.
been
It's
in
the
the
best record ever. But I was curious. I think the implications were if the Lions even lost to the Niners, if they beat the Vikings next week, they still could have got the 1 seed, right?
Yeah, it
So,
wouldn't have mattered because
right,
the Lions had already beat the Vikings earlier in the year. So then if they just
right,
won again, they would have had the double
right.
tiebreaker
And
over
we'll just
them.
have the double tiebreaker. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Go ahead.
So
Sorry.
then that brings us I'm at 54 and 16 for the year, and you're 52 and 18. So I got a
Wow.
2 game lead on you to end the year. So
That's
you're
awesome.
gonna have to split 2 to tie me or 3 to beat me this
Said,
week. So we'll
yeah.
see.
I don't
Might
wanna.
be getting a
I
little
don't wanna.
crazy with these picks.
Yeah.
You also don't
I
want to
don't
like
wanna
make
split on
stupid picks
purpose.
for like
Yeah.
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 So we'll see what
I
happens
mean,
when we
we'll
get to the
see. We'll see
picks.
what I do. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Quick. We'll make our week 18 picks now. I got all the games up. Chris, you ready?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right.
Let's get into it's
All
gonna be
right.
a weird
This
one
is the
because we got
last
some
week.
players sitting and all that.
Yes. Yes. Um. Yep. Last week, Chris. Little New Year's Eve wish, I guess you could say, for some of us. See if any of us can. Let's see if I don't know. Maybe one of us can go like 100% correct this week. These are some
That'd be
close games, though.
crazy.
I won't lie. These are some close games. So on Saturday, we got 4:30 game with Browns and Ravens.
I'm gonna go Baltimore here, even though I'm not too sure if the backups are gonna be in, but I
Yeah.
still think the Ravens should be able to beat them.
Yeah. This is a tough one. Um, I'm gonna take the Ravens as well just because of who they are. I don't know. There's something about just annoying because it's like this is such a Browns game to win. This just sounds like a Browns game to win. Does it
Yeah, I
not, dude?
know.
Like it just sounds like Baltimore's gonna sit everybody, and I don't know. It's gonna be tough. But
I
yeah,
guess they're still playing for
that's
seeding, but I'm not too
yeah.
sure, honestly. I
I
don't know.
guess I don't.
I don't think
They're
so,
not in
but
for 1 seed. They're not in for 1 seed. I'll tell you that. I mean,
no.
that's one AFC North matchup on Saturday.
Oh,
The
they're
other
not.
one
Yeah,
is at eight
UFC
o'clock
starter.
at the Bengals and Steelers, in Pittsburgh.
I mean, the Bengals are red hot right now.
Well, the Bengals offense is
Yeah, their defense is still a problem.
abysmal.
As we, I mean, even last week that they gave up some crazy touchdowns to Bo Nix, and
Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna take the Bengals and ride with them. I'm rooting
Uh-huh.
for chaos, so
Yep.
you
I am
know,
too. I'm
Burrow has
riding
been playing out
Bengals.
of his mind.
Yeah. I agree, Chris. I love the Bengals. I want them to make
I
it
also
so
think the
bad.
Steelers are clinched, so
Yes, yes. So then maybe they
so
just start
they,
Justin
they could be
Fields.
resting starters. That's the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, again, you know, they could rest starters, but a guy like Fields isn't. I'm not saying Fields is a phenomenal backup quarterback, but he's still
He's a
capable of
solid
doing stuff.
guy. Yeah.
Like as a rivalry, Steelers would be like, "Hey, we're gonna knock you guys out. Forget you." So that's another toss-up game. They could still make an effort
Yep.
for, but
Yeah.
all right, going into Sunday, the 1 p.m. slot. Texans at Tennessee Titans.
I mean, again, the Texans they've won their division, but probably sitting starters. But the Titans are just really, really bad. So
Yep.
I think the Texans could use some positive, positive energy and some positive play going into the playoffs because they've been going through it a little bit. So I'm going to take the Texans
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, I'm taking the Texans as well. I think it's just kind of like a momentum game. Just stay hot if they can, or get hot if they can, and stay hot going into the
Yeah.
playoffs. Like we said, a lot of teams are gonna be resting guys, but for a team like the Texans, they're forced to play in the first round. I think playing your guys is smart purely because it's like just keep them fresh. Um,
Yeah.
Carolina Panthers and Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta.
I mean, the Panthers have been playing some decent. I know they got blown
Decent
out,
ball.
but you
Yeah.
know what? The Falcons, it's do or
Yeah.
die time for them. So that they
Yeah.
have to win this game. I'm going to pick them.
Uh,
It was a close game on Sunday night. They could have won that game,
I've
but
picked the
weren't able to
Panthers a
play.
lot this year. I've picked the Panthers a
Yeah.
lot. Like I picked them to upset the Cowboys. They didn't. Picked them against the Bucks last week. I think they didn't. Oh no, maybe I did pick the Bucks last week. I did pick the
You had
Bucks
the
last week.
Bucks. You had the
Yeah,
Bucks. Yeah.
I'm gonna take the Falcons here though. This is so tough. This just again, it seems like a rivalry game where it's like, oh, we're gonna knock our rivalry out of the playoffs. But I think I think Penix has been
He's been all
decent. I
right.
think he's gonna use his legs more because I think that's the whole point of him coming in was extending
Yeah.
plays. He is a little bit. He's obviously more mobile than Kirk Cousins off of an ACL. So if Penix just relaxes a little bit more, focuses on taking the easy play or extending it with his legs, the Falcons will be fine. They have a loaded roster, so I'm gonna take Atlanta. Um,
Yep.
the other NFC South matchup is the Saints at the Buccaneers.
The
This is
Saints are
interesting.
brutal. I'm gonna go with the
Yeah,
Bucks. I mean, they need a win, right? So
yeah, they
gonna go
need
with
the
the
win. So
Bucks. Saints.
if the Bucks win, I believe the Falcons are out regardless.
Yeah, I think the Buccaneers control their own destiny here.
No, they do. Um, but if the Falcons beat the Commanders last week, it would have been a different story. Um,
Yep.
see, I'm gonna help my brother out here. I'm gonna take the
Wow.
Saints. I'm gonna take the Saints.
Wow.
This is the one where I feel like they upset a rivalry just because, and it takes me off because I love Baker. I love Baker.
Yeah.
He's just a dog. He's so entertaining to watch. He's a great quarterback. Oh. Yeah, I'm gonna take Rattler. Screw it. I think
All
Rattler.
right.
I don't think Rattler has a win yet this year. I don't think he's ever won
No,
yet. So
I don't
his
think so.
first win, he knocks out the Bucks. Why not? That'd be pretty funny.
That'd be crazy.
I don't know. I'm just part of me is forcing that one, but I'm gonna do it just for the fun of it because I want to see what happens. I just want to see a good
Yeah.
game. So, 1 p.m. slot: Bills Patriots at New England.
Buffalo's gonna be resting their starters, and New England kind of gave them a little bit of a fight last time. So I think I'm
Yeah,
gonna pick the Patriots here.
interesting. Interesting. Was it the Pats? Sorry, Mitch Trubisky, right? Is it Trubisky? The backup
Trubisky,
for the
yeah,
Bills?
yeah.
I don't know. I like me some Mitch, bro.
All right.
No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. Oh, I'm taking the Pats. That's ridiculous. Dude, come on. Drake May's been balling, bro. Drake May's been balling. He's been pretty
They had
good.
a tough game last week, but yeah,
Yeah.
he's looked
They give
good.
him a wide receiver one in the draft. I mean, that's a whole
And
nother
an
conversation.
entire new offensive line.
Yeah. I mean, he's gonna be good.
And
I think he'll be really good.
they just got
So
some work
I'll
to
give
do
him.
around him.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Another AFC. Why am I forgetting the name of this division? Jaguars, Colts, AFC. Why am I
South.
blanking? South. You're right. In Indianapolis.
Well, I mean, the Colts are really not inspiring at all, and
They're out. They
neither are
got
the
eliminated.
Jaguars. I think I'll just go with the Colts here, just
Mm,
because this is a pointless game, honestly.
fair
But
enough. This is a pointless game.
The Jaguars are not really that good.
You think the Jags do that kind of like tanking thing? Like the whole controversy about it, like they try to lose on purpose, or
I
maybe not on
mean, they
purpose, but
should, but I don't know. This is
who are
a
the
tough
Jags?
game.
Who are the
All
Jags?
right.
The Jags. I think Brian Thomas, like we talked about, is disgusting. I like their
Yeah,
I don't care who's throwing the ball, Trevor or Mac Jones. I think
he's
he
been
has
good.
just another game to make the case for offensive rookie of the year, maybe. I think Jaden Daniels still wins it, obviously, but this is a tough rookie class, especially on
There's a
offense.
lot of good players.
There's a lot of great players, but I like the Jags a little bit more. I think they could put up. I don't know. This will be a shootout. I feel like again, the Colts are just done. So
Yeah,
give me the Jags, just playing for fun. Uh, Commanders at Dallas Cowboys.
gonna go with Washington here. Um,
Mm,
they are clinched, so it gets tough. Like, are they gonna rest their starters? They probably are, and
yeah,
Dallas has not looked
Lamb's out.
great.
Lamb's out.
CD is done for the year. They lost last week. Um, maybe Mariota has a good
Yeah, I was
game.
gonna say Mariota as a game. Mariota's not bad
I
either as
don't
a backup.
I don't know. This is tough because it's like Cooper Rush versus Mariota. It's not a great game to watch, but
No,
I
yeah,
think
I
I'll
agree.
I think I'm gonna go with the commies.
Yeah, I'm going Commanders as well. I just think that their overall roster is more complete than the Cowboys, regardless of who's
I
at
agree.
quarterback. It's a tough one because it's like all these are division games. It's like
Yeah.
which rivalry does it out of spite and just beats the crap out of the team. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, I'm gonna take the Commanders. I think it's more complete. All right, the elephant in the room: Giants, Eagles.
Well, Kenny Pickett broke his ribs,
Yeah, they
so
have no QB.
are they gonna start Tanner McKee?
Yes.
And more importantly, are they gonna start Saquon and his pursuit of the rushing record? Do we know that yet?
I mean, I know Sirianni's the kind of coach that wants to give him that chance. He needs about
Yeah, I
100
wanna hear
yards.
what your thoughts because this is your team. Let me hear what you gotta say.
Let's not beat around the bush here. This is the perfect scenario for him. Like this most Giants thing to possibly happen is lose him, and then in the last week of the season have him break the all-time rushing yard record on his former team that disrespected him. Let's be frank here. Sirianni's going to look at him and say, I want you to go out there and destroy them. And quite frankly, I would not be shocked if Barkley did it in the first half and then sat out the second half. He got 100 yards in the first half. I would not be
Yeah,
surprised. It really wouldn't be. And for that reason, oh, you see, low key, I can still see us winning this game. It's
I
just
agree. That's what I
like
was
if
thinking.
they bench, like let's say Barkley does play the first half or like AJ Brown or whatever, and they put up points, and they send everybody out in the second half. That's just a scenario. Even if they don't play Barkley, that's a game where the Giants are going to play everybody, and Malik's going to get his stats up again. Um, I'm in Philly. I'm gonna take the. I don't want the Giants to win anymore. Can you go first? You got your pick or no?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Giants are gonna win, honestly.
Interesting. Interesting.
I don't yeah,
I'm
I think the Giants are gonna win. I don't if Kenny Pickett was in, I'd pick him, but are they gonna lose to the 3rd string quarterback?
Yeah, they are. 100% they are.
Alright,
I'm gonna
alright.
take the Eagles. The other take is Barkley. Does he break the record? Yes, he does. That's not a
I think
question.
so too. I think
That's
so
not a
too.
question. How could you not? Like, even if like Barkley's a humble guy, bro. Like, there was that clip I saw of Sirianni was like, "Oh, you need 11 yards to get your career high," and like they were already up big, and Barkley was like, "Nah, put the other guys in. Like, let him play or whatever." And then Sirianni's like, "I
Yeah,
want you to get it." Sirianni's the kind of guy where he's like, "Yo, let's go get this."
yeah.
Regardless of how humble Barkley is, he'll get it and then just sit out. So I'm gonna take Eagles. This is a heartbreaking one too.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable with
It's
the
just
Giants pick, but we'll see.
no. It's the whole joke about it is, oh, will the Eagles just give it up so that way the Giants win and ruin their draft pick more? And I don't know. That's the whole draft is another topic we'll talk about on Friday. But yeah, I'll take the Eagles. NFC North matchup: Bears going into Green Bay against the Packers.
Yeah. I mean, the Bears have just not been playing good football
Yeah,
at any stage. So I'm gonna go with the Packers. I feel like every single game we're talking about who's resting starters because half the league gets in, but
yeah,
Malik Willis won them 2 games this year. So
yeah, yeah,
I think
for
I'm gonna
sure.
roll with the Packers here.
I'm gonna go Packers as well. I mean, a lot of those games with Malik though were like heavy Josh Jacob games, and I don't think they play
Yeah,
Josh
that's
Jacobs.
true. That's true.
Um, However, I like how Malik plays. The Bears are just a mess. I think Caleb has a great game still. I frankly do. It's just, the rest of that Bears team is abysmal. So I'm taking the Packers.
It's
Uh,
fair.
Seattle going into LA to play the Rams. 25.
Well, the Rams have clinched their spot, won their division, I believe, and the
Yep.
Seahawks, I believe, are eliminated.
Yep.
So I can't imagine that Stafford plays. I saw actually, yeah, Jimmy G's playing. I've been picking the Seahawks a lot this year, and they've been killing me. But maybe just one more time.
Yeah.
I don't
I'm
know.
doing
I
this.
I think
Ahead.
I'm going with Seattle.
Yeah. I'm going to take Seattle as
They're
well. I just
eliminated,
think,
right?
I believe so. I'll look it up real quick. Uh,
Yeah, I think they're out because there's three
yeah,
teams
they're
from the
out.
NFC North that are going to get in, and then two teams from the East, and then
Yeah,
obviously the South.
because okay, yeah, because the Rams won over the Cardinals. Um, it clinched the West on Sunday night. When
Yeah, because they can't get into the wild card, so
yeah,
that's
yeah,
why
yeah, yeah. The Seahawks are out because the Rams clinched the
they
division.
might be 10-7 and miss the playoffs. It's crazy.
See, that's very interesting. Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna take the Seahawks as well. I don't know, like you said, Jimmy G is Jimmy G. I don't think Cooper Cup or Nakua plays just to keep compete in playoffs. So it's not really. I mean, McVay is an offensive wizard. We always talk about that. But if Seahawks play starters, it's just a better overall roster. So got the Dolphins going into New York at MetLife Stadium playing the Jets. This is a very
Yep.
interesting one.
Yeah. Gonna go with my Jets picking up a win in their
Yeah.
last game of the year. Cold weather, obviously that never plays well for the Dolphins, and Tua might
Yep.
not play.
Yep.
Huntley's all right, but feels like a nice parting gift from this disgusting era of Jets football to botch a top five pick even further down the
Yeah.
draft board.
Fair enough. I was also
So
gonna add. Sorry, before you go back, I was gonna add eliminate the Dolphins.
yeah, I mean that would be cool. I don't really care because like I don't think they're gonna get in anyways. They have knocked us out from playoff contention in the past, like back on the Rex Ryan days.
Yeah.
So it would be cool to officially end their season, but I'd rather pick top five. If the Jets
Yeah, it's
lost, you
fair.
wouldn't see me
It
upset.
would,
But
but
I think
Chris, I think
Rodgers
they
and
get in.
Adams have one more game, have one more
That'd
solid
be
game,
cool.
and
That'd be cool.
yeah, I
That
don't want.
I think if the Dolphins win though, they're in.
Well, no, they need Denver to lose to KC. and then they get in.
Oh, so Denver's the
But the
deciding game. Interesting.
Yeah, so you would I mean, Tua is probably gonna play even though he's got this hip injury, you would think, but,
Yeah.
this one there is not. Obviously, I don't know if, Sauce Gardner is gonna play or Quinnen Williams because 'cause they've been battling injuries, but we know
Yeah.
Rodgers is gonna play. He's looking for that 500th touchdown, so you can bet there'll
Yeah.
be 20 targets to Devontae to try to get that.
Yeah. Not minding that at all. That'd be
Plus, the
interesting.
Jets should have beat them a couple weeks ago in Miami. I mean, they had
Yeah,
that game
that was
won.
a brutal game.
Devontae went out of bounds instead of staying in bounds, so they had time to
Yeah.
win after the Jets kicked a field goal.
Yep. All right. Kansas City going to Denver. Denver needs the win. Kansas City bench starters, as we've discussed.
Yeah. I have picked Denver the last 2 weeks, and they've lost both times, so I guess I'm willing to die on the Denver sword because 'cause I'm picking them again to beat Kansas City's
Interesting.
backups. Bo Nix and Sean Payton get into the playoffs, I think.
Yeah.
They've been struggling a little bit, but they had a really close game last week that they easily could have won, so
Fair enough.
that's
You
my
know,
my thoughts.
you know what's interesting is I believe Denver will win, and not just because of the Chiefs starting their backups. Something about the controversy of the Bengals coming in and the thought of Mahomes having to go against Burrow again, I think scares him. And I think that's a funny joke or whatever people want to say. But the Chiefs could easily give the win to Denver and play a division rival instead of Mahomes' kryptonite and Joe Burrow. Because then when you look at the playoffs, right? Mahomes is in, and the three possible matchups that you could get are Burrow, Jackson, and Allen. Okay, how
Yeah, it's
entertaining
bad.
would that be? That'd be awesome.
Bad from a home.
That'd be.
That'd be great for the
It's bad for
sport.
Mahomes, but for the sport, that'd be freaking amazing. Now, I so badly want the Bengals to make this. I so badly do. I'm gonna take the Chiefs. This is really
Wow.
wild. I think the Bengals make it off of this. Bo Nix and Sean Payton have been a little off the past couple of weeks, but overall, a phenomenal year for them. Denver having a probably top 3 defense as well. Fair play to them. This is more of just me being biased towards the Bengals. I really want to see that miracle happen because
Yeah.
I promise you right now, Bengals get in. I would I'm willing to bet money they win at least 2 games in the playoffs. I know that sounds bold,
You
but I
think
think they
they go to
could.
the AFC Championship if they get in?
Mhm.
Their
Mhm.
defense is just brutal, man.
Yeah, but I just shootout, 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 shootout. Because to me, if it's between Lamar, Burrow, Allen, and Mahomes, any of those combos and whatsoever are going to be shootouts to me. It doesn't matter. So it's like
Fair.
defense is just pushed out. That's just how I see it, though, because it's just how powerful all 4 of those guys are. And the fact that they're all in the AFC it is wild to me. I wished have another guy, like one of them on the other side, just to play in the Super Bowl. But those are probably the top 4 quarterbacks in the league, in my opinion. Um,
Yeah.
it's just I don't know. It doesn't matter how good the defense is to me. Out of these 4 guys, any of the matchups, you're going to go into a shootout where it's like 33-35 or something like that. So yeah, give me the Chiefs backups. Is bold of me, but I'm gonna do it. Um, Chargers, Raiders in Vegas.
Yeah, it's another one where it's like, are the Chargers gonna play their starters, right? Probably not.
Yeah, probably
So,
not.
yeah, I don't
These are all really close
Raiders
games.
I mean, the Raiders are bad, but they've won 2 in a row.
They also want a higher pick.
Yeah, I think I'm
I think
still gonna
they're.
take I think the Chargers? I don't know. I'm really up that's a 50-50 one for me.
Give me the Raiders. I think they mess up their draft pick even more.
I think that I'm gonna go with the Raiders too. I
You
think
go
I'm gonna
Raiders
go with
too.
the
Yeah,
Raiders.
I don't know, man. Just something about Brock Bowers
3
is making me
game
really attracted, bro.
A 3-game win streak
What you
to end the
say?
year would just be horrible. I mean, they're gonna end
Oh,
the year
that'd
on
be
a 3-game win
horrible.
streak, like, that'd be
Heck
terrible.
yeah. Heck yeah.
We picked them last
I
week
like
though,
Antonio. The
so
thing is, I like Antonio Pierce too. They don't have a quarterback, and they're gonna ruin it again. And they're probably gonna have to
they're
give
probably
up
gonna
their entire
fire
future for a
Pierce,
guy.
so
They'll fire Pierce for sure, but They're gonna have to give up
Mm.
their entire future now in the draft for Shador or Cam Ward or whatever the heck happens in this draft.
Oh,
That's a
that
whole other
isn't. Yeah, that's something I
conversation.
wanted to talk about with you next
Yeah,
week.
we'll do it on Friday. We can for sure do that on
Yeah.
Friday. That'll be the whole draft will be wild. So we'll talk about that. But next game would be San Francisco and Arizona in Arizona.
I don't think Purdy's going to play, so for that fact, I'm going to just say the Cardinals. 'Cause
Oh, Purdy's
he
not
got some.
playing.
He hurt his elbow on Monday night. I think he has like
Yeah,
some sort of nerve issue going on.
yeah. This
So
game's
I think
meaningless.
that yeah, it's a meaningless game. I think the 49ers are just kind of beat. So gonna go with the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'll take the Cardinals as well. Um, I don't know. I, yeah, yeah. I'll take the Cards. Just no, no, no. Screw that. I'm taking the Niners just because it's like they want to play
All
for
right.
something. I'm gonna take the Niners. I'm because of I don't know. In the beginning, that first half against the Lions, they were phenomenal in my opinion. That first half was
Yeah, it
amazing,
looked good.
and
I
you
don't
know,
think Purdy's gonna play. So
yeah, that's fair. I just think there's a lot of skill positions on the Niners that are good. I don't know. Shanahan goes out with a bang, I guess. I don't know. I just I don't. The Cardinals just seem off to me. The passing game is not there at
yeah,
all. I think they'll rely
yeah.
heavy on Connor again, which is great, but I don't know. I don't know. Niners seem good. All right, I think this is where we'll split for sure. Last game of the week of Week 18 of this regular season of 2024-2025 season. At the Vikings and the Lions. One gets the bye week of the NFC, and one gets the fifth seed, I believe.
Yeah, they get a
They're
date with
both
Tampa Bay.
14-2. Yep. Both 14-2. Um both extremely great teams. Unfortunately in the same division. Chris, go ahead.
Well, it's nice to end the week after all these meaningless games that are going to be on. I know there's a couple for seeding in there, but it's like, how many games did we just talk about where we're not sure if the starters are going to play
Yeah.
because every
This
half
is
the league is locked in. So this is
yeah.
a it's nice to see essentially a playoff game right before the
Yep.
season ends.
I agree.
Now the Lions are extremely banged up on defense,
Yes.
but they already beat Minnesota. This is at Ford Field, I believe, right? To end
This
the
is in
year.
Detroit. Yes. That's
Yeah.
also I feel like a very big advantage.
Oh, I'm gonna go with the Detroit Lions. Get the
Interesting.
one seed, win the North. I love what the Vikings are doing. Brian Flores, I don't think has gotten enough shout outs from the media. That defense is flying around. He's definitely going to be a coaching candidate. It wouldn't surprise me if he got a job. Sam Darnold's going to get his money. Kevin O'Connell's probably coach of the year.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I've been picking against the Vikings, for a couple weeks. I picked the Packers last week and the Seahawks the week before that. Not that I don't believe in the Vikings because I do, but I just think the Lions are better. This just feels like the most
Yeah.
complete team in football, even with all these defensive injuries. And they
Yeah.
know they need this bye because they're so banged up. They could use this week off to try to get a little
Yeah.
more healthy. So I think the Lions are going to do it. They have a little bit of that playoff experience in those big games. They pretty much should have gone to the Super Bowl last year if they didn't. There was some questionable decision making. It's a long-winded answer, but I'm going to go with the Lions.
No, I agree. I agree with everything you're saying, at least. I just
Yeah,
this is a tough one. This is really tough
it is a tough
because
one.
it's like you make the great point of Lions defense being literally completely wiped out, right? And I'm gonna give a lot of credit to the players that stepped up, but also the coaching there is just phenomenal in my opinion. They can play with anybody, anywhere. I'm not saying their defense hasn't been great, but it's they've done enough to at least give their offense a chance in certain situations. They let up, what, 34 points to the Niners last week to a horrible Niners offense this year. At least, I mean, I know Shanahan's a mastermind of offense, but you know that's tough. However, there's one game that stood out to me this year with the Lions, where Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions, and they
He
still
did.
won. They still
Yeah.
won. And that Minnesota defense is tough, and that was going to be my argument for why I'm going to take the Vikings. Right? Of that defense is at least 3 times better than the Lions defense. They'll give that offense a more difficult time. There's, this is so tough. You said, Chris, I love Sam Darnold's story. He's got that Baker Mayfield redemption kind of arc. Um, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison balling out, probably the best receiving duo in the league right now, in my opinion. Um, I could flip a coin. I frankly could just flip a coin. I'm
Yeah, it's a
I'm
coin flip.
purely for the fact that the Vikings defense is stronger. I'm going to take Minnesota. And this is gonna be
Wow.
really tough. This is tough because I think the Lions are still gonna go to NFC Championship regardless of where they are. Um, I just think they beat anybody. And then I think here's what happens is Vikings beat them here, they take the 1 seed from them, and they meet again in the NFC championship game, and Lions beat them there. That's how I see it happening. I
Interesting.
if the Philly doesn't have a quarterback, Vikings could get there. Lions could have an easy ride there. It'll be an NFC North championship game. That's how I see it. So I'm gonna take the Vikings
That would
right
be
now at
yeah,
least.
that'd be pretty cool.
That's a good story. I think the lot Dan Campbell is gonna he's got that kind of mentality where he's like, dude, stick us in the last seeding of the playoffs. I don't care if we're in, we're gonna dominate you guys regardless. Like he doesn't care about as long as he gets that shot in the playoffs. I think that's how the Lions will overcome it. They're gonna play with vengeance, like if they lose this game. But I think Minnesota now. I'm gonna see it as like a 31-28 kind of game, something crazy like that. Maybe even like in the 40s. I don't know. We're just gonna see another shootout again. But I think the difference will be the turnover. Maybe Goff throws a pick or two, which I think completely switches up the game. So yeah, I'm gonna see the Vikings.
Yeah, obviously, no Montgomery is huge. He injured his
Yeah,
knee a couple weeks ago, and obviously Hutchinson. He could rattle off the list of players that the Lions are missing, but they really haven't skipped a beat. I mean, I know Buffalo got
yeah,
him pretty good a couple weeks ago, but we
yeah,
kind of all thought the Lions were due for a hiccup at some point.
yeah.
Wire to wire,
Well,
I mean, this has been the
let me
best
ask
team
you
in
this,
football
Chris.
this year.
I agree. I agree. But let me ask you this: did you see that whole thing with Jameer Gibbs talking about like if he was on the Cowboys, like he'd be feasting
I
and
don't
stuff
really
like that?
know. No, he
I
said
don't
he'd be
know what.
sick if he got drafted by the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Like he wouldn't want
Well,
to go there.
right.
I don't know
I don't know.
why that was said. I mean, he was on
I
with
don't
Kay
know.
Adams, and he was talking about the teams that had interest in him. Funny enough, actually, this one's crazy. I don't know if you ever heard this one, but the Jets actually had an interest in him that year, and I think they were going to pick him in the
Really?
first round, and that was a year after they
Whoa.
took Brees Hall in the first or in the second
Wow.
round. So that would have been a crazy backfield. Not that the Jets would have been able to
Wow.
utilize him because their run game is putrid, but Gibbs
Hey
and
man,
Brees in the backfield would have been crazy.
forget that. When you talk about Montgomery too, he's out. But Gibbs hasn't been awful. I think him
He's
getting
good. I
more
mean, Jahmyr
touches is
Gibbs
proving.
is an RB1 on pretty much every other
Yeah,
team.
I think yeah, I agree. And you know what? I didn't think Montgomery was an RB1 until he got to the Lions. He's proven to be just a like that downhill power back. He's been pretty solid. I mean, you give him a chance to run through a hole, he's gonna get through. He's gonna break through the first tackle, which is fair to him. But I don't know. There's something about Gibbs where it's like you feed him, at least 15 to 20 touches a game. Could be your offense.
Yeah, I think that's going to be their formula on Sunday. And obviously, Laporta's coming on strong towards the end of the year, and JMO is
Yeah.
healthy. And you see, Amon Ra doesn't have a dropped pass all year. I mean, now that I say that, he'll
Yes,
probably
I
drop
saw
like a
that.
huge pass on fourth down this week. But
Yep.
I mean, you got Tim Patrick out there like laying dudes out and
Yeah.
blocking. It's just,
Yeah.
and their offensive line is just a machine. I mean, from
Yeah.
left tackle all the way to Sewell on the right side, it's just, they have a bunch of, dogs and monsters on there that
Yeah.
keep Goff upright. So Brian Flores is a really blitz heavy coordinator. They're going to throw a lot at Goff, but I think the Lions have a lot to counter that. Whether it's the quick
Yeah.
game with Amon Ra
Play action.
or dumping it off to Gibbs and or finding Laporta over the middle. I just think there's a lot of options for Jared Goff.
Yeah. I was saying their play action is what was really worked for them at least the past year and a half. It was just going heavy, heavy, heavy on Montgomery and Gibbs, and then once they got that read of loading up the box, it was a play action pass to Laporte across the field or Amon Ra, whoever it was going to cross, and it was literally a 70-yard touchdown. That's all I remember seeing. And what's crazy is then they back up. Then the defense backs up and puts two safeties back there. You know what they do? They just go right back to running the ball, and it works every single time because, like you said, their line is just loaded. So it's not like they can stop the run game. So
Yeah, and Amon Ra is
it's
just
simple
like
football. It's simple
yeah,
football.
no, Amon Ra is just like a surgical receiver. I mean, at any time you
Yeah,
need to get 7 yards on third down, and you just have him
he's
run
your
like
guy.
even an out route. Like he gets to the sticks, and if you get the ball in his vicinity, he's gonna catch it. So
Yeah,
when it becomes crunch time, the Lions just step up, and I think it
yeah,
just stems
I
from
agree.
coaching. I think it's tough to say it because like their window is I'm not saying their window's closed, but they're probably gonna lose both coordinators this offseason. So it's like
Yeah, this is the
those are
year.
gonna
This is
be
the year to
two
do it.
those are gonna be two really big losses. I mean, that's the whole reason why Ben Johnson came back this year was so
Yeah,
that they would have a chance to go back to the playoffs and win the Super Bowl. And I think the only thing that could stop them this year is how injured they are. Montgomery's a big
yeah,
loss. It's like it wouldn't
a
surprise me if
huge loss.
they lose Sunday and they have to go on the road. And I've been saying to you for a couple weeks, like my only concern with Jared Goff is if they play in the cold. Like, what if they have to go to Philly for the NFC Championship all
Oh
of a
yeah,
sudden?
forget that. Forget
Like
that.
that's a really tough.
That's
And I know
brutal.
Jared Goff's not incapable of playing in the cold, but like when you play, whatever it is, 14 games either in the warm weather or in a dome,
Or an
like that's
dome.
crazy. That's
Yeah,
crazy to me.
muscles
And like
tighten
even
up.
one of those games that you played at Soldier Field is like you're playing the Bears. Like you should be able to beat the Bears,
Yeah,
regardless.
it's not like
And
a tough
they do
matchup. Yeah,
exactly. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. Definitely going to be locked in on Sunday. It's basically like a playoff game, so I'm excited for that.
yeah. Yeah, we'll submit over. We I think Bama Michigan is ending soon right now, but we have a bowl game tonight at 7 o'clock or 7:30. It's Penn State Boise State. Let me check the score of the Bama game. Right now Michigan's up on Bama, 19-13. Now
I
Bama's
think Jalen
11th.
Milrow just essentially tanked his draft stock in
Yeah,
three
he's
quarters.
struggling.
So
Yeah, I
he
mean,
he may have to go back to school, honestly, because I don't think he's going in the first round
no, he's
based
not.
on this
He's
performance.
gonna need a Heisman kind of year in order to go in the first round next year.
Yeah, I think he
Um,
should go back to school, but
I agree. Well, Michigan's up 19-13 right now with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and they have the ball. Michigan has the ball. Now, here's what's interesting, Chris. Bama's 11th ranked. Michigan is unranked, 7-5. The way, like, do you think, like, the difference between the SEC and the Big Ten, right?
yeah.
Is it that big of a difference, or is this just like a upset game kind of thing?
Well, I mean, Milrow's obviously not showing anything positive, and Michigan, it's like a weird rebuild year because they lost their coach and pretty much their
Yeah,
entire team went to the draft. And I don't know. I think the conferences are getting more even. Obviously, you have a team like Oregon now that's in the Big Ten and they're the
in the
number
Big
one
Ten, yeah,
in the nation. And then, but it's hard to say because college football changes so much on a year-to-year basis now with like the portal and NIL, and it's just like
yeah,
it's hard to say if one conference is like a lot better. I mean, this is not a good look for the SEC. This showing
yeah.
in the or not in the playoffs, but in this bowl game to an unranked
Like a
Bama
showing for
team.
Bama.
I mean, an unranked Michigan team. Yeah, so I don't know if I want to say one is better or the other, but it's definitely a lot more blurry than it used to be when the
Yeah,
SEC was just considered a straight powerhouse, and all these other
yeah.
conferences were like B tier.
I was gonna say it's definitely 1A, 1B now with those two
Yeah,
conferences, in my opinion at least. I think with adding Oregon, it's just a lot more competitive now. Um, I mean, Michigan's got to get a couple guys like. By the way, credit to Jim Harbaugh. Holy cow, dude! Like anywhere this guy goes, you see that's
he's a
like
winner.
the. I was gonna say he's a winner because you ever see like it's like the season before Jim Harbaugh gets to a team and the season after, like he makes them a winning season, like the first season he gets there. Like
That's
Chargers
why
were
it's so
mediocre
important to just
last
find a
year.
coach.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
I mean, we've
It's
seen
the
it
it's
like
the
all
first
throughout the
point.
NFL. Obviously, like you
Yeah.
need to have the quarterback, and some recent examples have been, even last year, Dan Quinn goes to the Commanders and they take Daniels. And I don't think a lot of people were that high on the Dan Quinn hire. This
Mm-mm,
is
mm-mm.
people typically aren't that high on guys who have been fired and getting a second chance. When in reality, it's like those guys know what they're doing because they've gone through it the first time, so like they can
Yeah,
adjust.
Yeah.
You know, like
It's the
as
guy
a
that
Jets
can
fan,
adjust
like
from his mistakes. Yeah.
yeah, and as a Jets fan, like I want them to hire someone who's been a head coach before.
Yeah.
They need the experience. Like obviously Mike Vrabel's a big name, but like if the Jets got Brian Flores, like I know he doesn't have a great reputation around the league, but like I think I'd be more than
He
happy
learned.
with
Yeah.
Brian Flores. You know,
But
obviously the whole
he's a
that's a
great he's
conversation
a,
for another day.
for sure. But it's just that's a great example of what you're saying of living a learning kind of thing. How do you adjust? How do you fix the problems you had before and say, hey, I like, if you go into a coaching interview and say, I noticed I did this, 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 and this wrong. Here's what I'm going to fix it. This, and this. And the team says, wow, I'm impressed by that you were able to acknowledge that. That's a signing right there. And if he actually does it, then you have a legacy coach right there. Now,
Yeah, I mean it's so interesting because like you see Jeff Ulbrich got the Jets head coaching job in like week 6, and
yeah,
everyone, you know, Jeff Ulbrich has been pretty highly thought of in NFL circles with how good the Jets defense has been. Like, it wouldn't have surprised me if he were to receive a coaching interview this
right.
offseason. But, you know, you see what he just did and how bad they've been and how bad as a coach he's been. And you realize, like, some people just aren't cut out to be head coaches.
Yeah. Well, see, well, that's the thing. That's the thing with Brian Flores too. Is look how phenomenal of a defense he just put together. You know, and it's like I'm not saying he can't be a great head coach because he has had the experience of a head coach before, but it's just he's an example to me where I'm like, if you're in Minnesota and you just turn them around into a top 5 defense, how are you leaving? You know what I mean? Is that too
Yeah.
weird to say, Chris? Like Ben Johnson, I know he's
Well,
a candidate for coaching jobs. He has a top 5 offense in the league. Why would you leave that?
well, obviously, I mean, coaching is those they open up every single year, but you know, there's only 32 jobs, so it's like it's a very
Yeah,
hard job to get, and obviously the money's a factor, but you know, that's why you coach or you start coaching, like make your way up the ranks so you can get in a position to be the head coach. And
yeah,
I'm sure Ben Johnson knew that if he stayed this year, he would have still received significant interest because you know he wanted to find the right spot for himself and more importantly, one of the Lions to compete and win a Super Bowl. But you know, for a guy like Brian Flores, I feel like he'd be eager to get back into coaching because you know, I don't think many people would have thought to hire him or, you know, interview him after he got fired from Minnesota and he kind of bounced around,
yeah,
but he's completely taken over and transformed their defense because the Minnesota defense hasn't been great these past couple of years. So I think a
yeah,
guy like him would definitely at least take interviews
yeah.
if he's been
Good point.
requested.
That's a good way to look at it. Um, Going back to this game real quick because we drifted off a little bit. There's 2 minutes left. Bama got the ball back. We'll keep you updated on that. And hopefully a live thing happens. It'd be pretty cool. But Penn State, Boise State. I want to talk about this real quick. I am a Penn State fan. My brother goes to Penn State. My uncle went to Penn State. Where I'm not. I don't want to sound biased, but it's like going back to what we just talked about. Big Ten being probably the second, if not the first, best like conference in college football. Boise State, yeah, fair play. You won your league. You have a Heisman caliber player, right? And he definitely is your whole offense. It, it goes back to the whole controversy of who do you let in the playoffs, and quite frankly, Penn State's just a complete team. I mean, you have guys that want you have like 5 stars at every position, 5-star recruits at every position that want to go play in Penn State. That's the kind of program it is. Like I just don't think Boise State has that kind of filled out roster, if that makes sense.
You know, I'm with you. I definitely, if we were picking, I would pick Penn State. Definitely
Yeah,
more complete all around. Um, I
we
think
did
that
pick. We
next
did pick.
time around, yeah, we did. Next time around with the playoffs, like they might have to work on the seedings a little bit, just because
That's what I
they're
was
getting
gonna
a little
say. Yeah.
they're just getting a little messy, you know.
Well, I was gonna say like you can't just take the top 12 teams in general, right? Because then you're gonna
Yeah,
have a team like Boise State that wins their conference and says, "Hey, we just won our conference. Why are we not in the playoffs?" You know,
yeah,
but I don't think they deserved a bye week. I'll say that for sure. I'll say that for that. Like Ohio State or Penn State, maybe Notre Dame could have got a bye week there. Um, I just there are a couple more teams that I would say even though they got second or third in their conference, or even fourth, maybe, and still made the playoffs. just because of how good that whole conference is, if they make the playoffs, deserve a bye week more. And I know that's, you know, I don't want to disrespect these other conferences that are, like Boise State winning theirs, um, but I don't know. It's just I can't. I don't like giving them a bye week that easily.
Yeah, I saw a headline that the committee or, NCAA was just kind of gonna at least discuss the idea of the seedings and how to better distribute them because
Right.
obviously, like, it's a little weird, the way that the seedings are now. Maybe not necessarily if you win, your conference, you get that bye depending on,
Yeah.
other factors. Like,
Yeah.
what if you go like, what if Alabama, like, won their conference this year? They won the SEC, they got their automatic bid, like, they don't deserve to have a bye, they as a
Yeah.
three-loss team, you know? So it's like
Yeah.
a
I agree.
I think it's an interesting conversation to have if they wanna, tighten up the seeding a little bit and make them the
Yeah.
seeds more valuable. Because as they stand, the seeds really aren't that valuable other than the buy. Because you got good teams, like Oregon and Ohio State are playing each other in, the second round. It's just a
Yeah.
little weird.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say, like, you see Texas, Texas is a lower seed than ASU, like Arizona State. Like, dude, like, it just doesn't sound right to me at all. Like, Texas should have had a bye week. You know, Ohio State could have got a bye week for sure, or Penn State if you want to say, because they were in their conference championship game. Even if that, I don't know. It's a very I feel like college football's all over the place right now, and they have been for a while. It's just there's always a controversy with college football, and it's like how many more times you need to get it to you need to try until you get it right. So
Yeah, I mean, it's just
um
hard because of all the teams and, the
yeah,
conferences
for
and all
sure,
that.
it's hard. It's hard. Chris, what was there anything else we want to talk about?
Um, I think we covered pretty much everything today. Obviously, I know we're keeping an eye on that Michigan Alabama game, but I think this we'll have a good show on Friday to talk about what happened in these bowl games and maybe have some
Yeah,
NFL updates for you and predictions, all
what's
that all that good stuff.
tomorrow? What's tomorrow?
Which bowl games are tomorrow?
Yeah, are there not bowl
Um,
games tomorrow? College football bowl games
Let me take a
tomorrow.
look. I didn't have it
Uh,
pulled up.
Oh, we got Arizona State's playing Texas, and then Oregon's playing Ohio State tomorrow. See, it's like yeah. Well, we've already picked those games. If you want to look at one of our previous episodes. However, Chris and I next week will probably, based off of how the playoffs are set for the NFL, we'll make our playoff brackets and share them with each other and see what you guys think. I think that'll be a good
Yeah,
segment to do.
that'll be fun.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. We kind of do like a March Madness kind of thing. I don't know. It's tough to do that right now, obviously, just because we have one more week left. We don't know who's in, who's out. We predicted. I think the Bengals will get in. Chris believes it'll be the Broncos. You see that? That's something to look out for. Chris, you got any final thoughts before we end this one?
No, I'm just excited to see how I mean, we split on a ton of picks this week because all
Yeah,
of these teams, it's all up in the air. So one of us should definitely have a firm win
win
or a
everyone. Yeah,
sizable win for some of these picks that we made. And obviously, I'm just looking forward to the Sunday night game and for the Jets to
yeah,
probably hurt their top five draft pick. So good
yeah.
stuff.
I want. Yeah, I'll definitely be up for that one. That's gonna be one of the Sunday Night Football games I'm actually invested in. Um, so yeah, that's all we got for you guys. Happy New Year to everybody. Chris and I are very grateful for starting this podcast. Um, Chris came up to me and was like, "Let's just start something." I was like, "Dude, I'm down." So hopefully we carry it on through the 2025 and many years after that. I mean, Chris and I want to have careers in sports. So thank you everybody for listening, whether it's friends or
Thank you,
family or
everyone.
random people on the internet. It's awesome. Have a happy, healthy New Year, everybody, and take care.